Lesson 6-11, Order Fractions. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to order fractions and mix numbers from least to greatest. Make sure you have your piece of paper and a pencil ready to go so you can take notes and work through the problems. Okay, so in our lesson today, we're going to be putting fractions in order from either least to greatest or greatest to least. So let's take a look at these examples. We have 1 1/4, 2/3, 1 5/6. So we see that this one has a whole number and this one has a whole number, but 2/3 does not. And that's less than 1, so we know that 2/3 is going to be our least number. So I'm going to put that over here. 2/3, that's going to be the least number. Now we need to figure out what comes next. So we need to compare the whole numbers. Okay, so maybe pause the video now and write down these notes, and then I'm going to be going through them step by step. So to compare and order mixed numbers with unlike denominators, first you're going to compare the whole numbers. Then you rename each fraction using the LCD, compare the numbers, and then you write the fractions in order from least to greatest. So let's take a look using our examples. So we have comparing the whole numbers as our first step. We have 1/4, or 1 1/4, and we have 1 5/6. They're the same whole number, so that doesn't help us. So that means we need to go to this second step, renaming each fraction using the LCD. So I have 4 and I have 6. I know that my least common multiple of both of those is 12. So I'm going to need to multiply my 4 by 3 in order to get 12. So I have to multiply the top by 3. So now I bring my whole number over. 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So now I have 1 3/12. Now in order to get the 6 to equal 12, I need to multiply that by 2. So I have to multiply the top by 2. Sorry, that should be multiply. So that would equal 2 times, I bring my whole number over. 2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times 6 is 12. Now I have them both. They're renamed, they're common denominators now. So now I can compare the numerators. So I have 3 and I have 10. I'm looking for the least to come next. 3 is smaller than 10. So that one comes next as I order the fractions. So 2/3, then I have the 1 3/12, which is actually the 1 1/4. So I do 1 1/4 comes next. And my last one will be 1 5/6. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Here they want us to put it from greatest to least. So the greatest will come first and the least will come last. So I take a look at my numbers and I have 2 1/8, 2 3/4, and 19/8. Okay, this is an improper fraction, so I'm going to turn it into a mixed number so that I can compare. So I have 2 1/8, 2 3/4, 19/8. So I need to divide 19 divided by 8. I get 8 goes into 19, 2 whole times, so that's 16. Then I have 3 left over. That's my remainder, and my denominator stays the same. So now I have 2 3/8. So now I can compare these. As I look, I see this denominator is an 8 and this one's an 8. So can I also make this an 8? Yes, I can, if I multiply them both by 2. So let's do that right here. So I keep my whole number the same. 2 times 3 is 6. Whoops, I didn't need to put a comma there. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 2 6/8, and this one just stays the same, 2 1/8. So now I have to compare all of my whole numbers. 2, 2, and 2. Well, that doesn't help me at all. So now I'm going to my fractions. They all have the same denominator now, so that means I take a look at the numerators. So I have 1, 6, and 3. Which one is the greatest? It is the 6. So I would put 2 and 6/8 comes first. Then comes the 2 and 3/8, and then it would be 2 and 1/8. Now, I'm going to need to change these fractions back to their original fractions. So my 2 and 6/8 right here was actually 2 and 3/4. So that's the one that I need to write down here as I compare them. So I'll do that right here. 2 and 3/4 is my greatest fraction. The next one was 2 and 3/8, which is actually the 19/8. So I write 19/8 comes next. And my last one would be 2 and 1/8. There's a lot of steps to going through these, so you just have to make sure that you go slowly and get through each step in order to order these fractions. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own, putting it in order from greatest to least, and then come back and check. Okay, so my first step will be, let me compare my whole numbers. 6, 6, and 6. That doesn't help. None of these are all in 5/6, 3/5, 2/3. They don't have a common denominator. So let me take a look at the denominators. 6, 5, and 3. Okay, and none of these, or all of them, don't go into 6 evenly. So that means I need to actually work out and find my least common multiple for each of them. So I know my 5s, those I'm going to start with just because they're the easiest to figure out, and then I can see if 6 and 3s go into those also. So my multiples of 5 would be 5, 10. In my head I'm thinking, do 6 and 3 go into any of these? No. 15, 3 goes into 15, but 6 doesn't, so I need to keep going. 20, 25, 30. Aha! I know 6 goes into 30 5 times, and 3 goes into 30 10 times. So 30 is my least common multiple. So let me rewrite each of those. 6, and then I'm going to have to multiply this by 5, this one by 6, and 3, I'm going to multiply that by 10. Okay, so I have 5 times 5 equals 25. 6 times 5 equals 30. Now my next one, I keep my whole number the same. 3 times 6 equals 18. 5 times 6 equals 30. Keep my whole number down. Then 2 times 10 is 20. And 3 times 10 is 30. So now here's all of my fractions. Now they all have common denominators. Now I just need to compare each of these numerators, since all of my whole numbers are the same. So I have 25, 18, and 20. What is my greatest number here? It would be 25. So I'll write that right here. 6 and 25 over 30ths. That's my greatest number. My next one is this 20 here. So that would be 6 and 20 30ths. And my last one is 6 and 18 30ths. That's the least number. So now these are in order, but I need to put them back into this form. So I just take a look up here, my 6 and 25 over 30th. That one is my 6 and 5/6. So 6 and 5/6 is my greatest. Then I have my 6 and 20 30ths is right here, which is my 6 and 2/3. So 6 and 2/3. And my last one then is 6 3/5. Is that what you got? Let's take a look at another example. Okay, I want you to try putting 4/5, 7/10, and 3/4 in order from least now to the greatest. Okay, the least to greatest. Pause the video and try it and come back and check. Okay, so I need to take a look. I don't have any whole numbers, so I'm only looking here at my denominators. They're all completely different, and both of my smaller numbers don't go evenly into my larger number, so that's not going to work. So I need to find my least common multiple of each of those. The least common multiple of 5, 10, and 4 is going to be 20. So I'm going to need to multiply each of them in order to get 20. So 4/5 times, I need to multiply that 5 by a 4 in order to get 20. So then I'd have 16/20. Then I have my 7/10. I need to multiply that by 2 in order to get my 20. So that would be 14/20. And my last one, I have 3/4. I need to multiply that by 5 in order to get 20. 3 times 5 is 15, and 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, now they all have the same denominator, 20, 20, and 20. So now I'm looking for my least number. I have 16, 14, and 15. 14 is my least number here, so that one was my 7/10. So 7/10 is going to be the least, so I'll write that first, 7/10. My next smallest number is 15. So my 15/20 was my 3/4. So I'd write that next, 3/4. And my last one then would be the 4/5. Alright, go ahead and rewatch any part of the video that you need to before heading off on today's lesson.